everybody, if you look up at the screen, it says in one word. Obviously, nobody did. Few people said one word. That's a phrase, actually, everyone. One word is discipline, but it's okay. Don't be Nigerian. So in whatever words you feel, what challenges do you face trying to raise Yoruba children in the diaspora? And I think this is a great question for everybody up here, for the people in the crowd, because me specifically, I was raised in a way where I'm around a lot of white Caucasian people. Then you get introduced to black people because of where I'm going to church. And then I'm in school, and it's like, am I the black guy? Am I closer to this? Am I whitewashed? I think it's an interesting thing. And I am somebody who also grew up with a lot of biracial family members. So it's like, you're thinking this, then you add religion into there. Oh, there's Christians, and then there's Muslim Nigerians too. We're all here. It's a very interesting thing. And thinking about how we connect and how you maybe lost connection coming from Nigeria and are finding connection still right now. How do you all stay connected to your culture, within your identity, with how the world is changing with all this digital, social media, apps, cell phones? How are you staying connected to your Yoruba identity in this modern times?
Thank you, moderator. I think it's getting better. Remember, the world is a global village. I just came back from Nigeria a week ago. Now I find it very easy to. There is an app that my kids will tell me that they are going to this university. It's WhatsApp. WhatsApp has done a lot of good work. It has given us a lot of opportunity to relate with our people, both here and any part of the world. So, kudos to WhatsApp. Sometimes you don't want to believe everything you see on that social media, but at the same time, it has helped us to go closer. And now, because we have this organization, there are a lot of people that I can look up and say, oh, let me call Dr. Gunda Gumbi, let me call Zanoni or Itan. So we are gradually building that community, and it has enhanced our coming together to stick together. They say in a house that sticks together and we pray together and finds ourselves. So I think it's getting better. I agree, we still have a lot of work to do, especially bringing up our little children. It will amaze many of you that a lot of our kids back home don't even speak Yoruba. So what have we done for ourselves? So like Richard is saying, that he's teaching himself. You're not going to teach yourself. You're going to teach some generation to know you and what and everything.
Amen.
Amen.
You don't know myself.
Same question?
Same question.
Yes, I think it's in two parts. So the first part is what they're doing right now, interacting with one another, having programs like we did in July, Yoruba Day, when people came with their to exhibit their cultures. So that is one thing. But I believe the one that is going to be more impactful is what is happening on the digital space. So I want to encourage everybody to try to follow some of those pages, be it on Facebook or YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. Programs like Master Igbo, I want to encourage everybody to try and be a part of that. There are several episodes of that. And Lake of Familola is the anchor of that program. We also have Ileimo, Afford is the producer of that program, Ileimo, another wonderful program. On Facebook and I think on other social media platforms, that is Chemistry in Yoruba. There is one young lady, I guess, who is actually doing a water with that. And also Science in Yoruba. And one professor who, when I learned that this guy is a professor of linguistics, I was amazed. It would break down, complex, scientific concepts, and would think, I actually thought it was a professor of engineering, something like that. At the time, he was talking about using Yoruba to describe the renal system. The loop of pain and what I do in Yoruba, I was amazed. So he's doing a wonderful job with that. Let's try to follow him and also encourage our children to also do that. We have an engineer. So this guy delves into the animal kingdom. So we have a lot of them, young people, and also sharing. So many of them are there and are doing a wonderful job to try to promote the back culture. I want to encourage all of us to be part of that. The things that we can learn from there, then about the management and the practice. So thank you very much.
Could you repeat the question one more time, please?
All right. Okay, so can you hear me, everybody? We're still live. Is our crowd live? Don't fall asleep now. Pay attention. So Kenny, it was how is the modern times? How is technology? How is social media? How is that changing how you connect with your identity as a young millennial Nigerian?
I think for me, what I'm noticing is that once upon a time it wasn't something that was being spoken about, and now there are so many different avenues of discovering and learning more about being Yoruba, which for me is awesome because I am also an educator, and it's a way for me to direct some of my students, like be able to give them resources for them to discover those things. Right now, I went to middle school, and in that middle school, I had a relationship. Because he was like, why am I drawn to this woman that's always yelling at me in your class? But in that moment, it connected, like, oh, you speak Yoruba. And I'm like, you understand Yoruba. And then I'm looking at him, so what does that mean? Oh, okay. So it's like, wow, we've come to this point. When I remember literally 10 years ago, if I was playing it in my car, my friend would be like, what is this? Why are you listening to these drums? What are we listening to? So, yeah,
Now, Mishak, before you answer, I want to add a little bit to that question and talk about this transition with how culture is changing and technology within social media and what you guys are actually doing, your career, how you're communicating. And from the past to even now, current times, how have these changes been affecting that side of things?
So for me personally, I don't think without technology, I don't think I'll be able to even learn Yoruba or like really delve into my culture as much as I have been able to recently. Because first of all, I learned most of my Yoruba, not online, but I got a book that was online. I found about it online. And then, as Uncle said, Maso Yubo, it's the best show on YouTube. I love watching it every day. I watch it at school. So if you haven't seen that, it's funny. It's very entertaining. If you're just like at home, you're eating, it's on Maso Yubo. It just literally means don't speak English. It's a game show. The guy, basically, you start with ₦1 million, and if you speak any English, he removes your money. And he teaches about like proverbs and he has like these questions about Yoruba culture, and if you get them wrong, you lose money. So it's a game show. It's really funny. It's entertaining, and I've learned a lot of Yoruba from watching that alone. And he makes them speak Yoruba, like he makes them say the numbers too. So you say, what is 1,238 in Yoruba? And nobody can either know. I don't know. It's a good show. But yeah, without social media, I don't know what I would do. Because I also take Yoruba lessons online. And without that, I don't know what I would do without that. So social media also really connects us too. I've met a lot of people online that I speak Yoruba with. I text my friends in Yoruba, they understand it. I'll text them in Yoruba just for practice. They'll text me back in Yoruba. So I just think it's very important that we keep pushing this online and like using our resources online.
Do you need me to repeat the question? Okay, so it's kind of convoluted now because it's changed a bit, but you can talk about anything that is relating to how your identity and how the Yoruba language and culture and how the times have changed. For example, do you have or do you use a cell phone or an iPad, right? And what experiences do you have with being African, being Yoruba, with language? And to add a little bit more to that, here we are. Do you yourself get to practice speaking Yoruba or speaking your native language at home, at school, or online?
I mean, go, sometimes I go on like YouTube and I like try to learn Yoruba and I search like how to speak Yoruba and the basic things like readings and days in the week.
Do you ever get to practice those things with your parents?
Yeah, sometimes.
How about with your friends? Cousins?
Not really, sometimes.
And that same kind of question for all of you. Where do you find yourself using Yoruba and your experience or knowledge of Yoruba the most?
Maybe sometimes I go with my parents and stuff, and I try to speak Yoruba and repeat actually, yeah. And I try to like learn like phrases.
Okay. Good. You pass it right down.
Yeah, so for me, mostly I speak with my dad for the most part. Like every morning, he'll ask me, show dad, most of dad, stuff like that, basic stuff. I'd be like, if I'm coming home from school and I'm hungry, I'm like, hey, Itan, like, I'll ask him those kind of questions. And I try to incorporate it every day, and like, even the small things. So I guess for you too, Amira, if you want to learn, try to greet your parents here about every morning. Just small things, you'll see improvement if you want to learn. But yeah, mainly with my dad, also with my friends too, that I'm comfortable with, because I find that I get nervous, especially around new people who are Yoruba. I get nervous trying to speak because it's like, what if I say something a little wrong? Because Yoruba is tonal, very tonal, so it's one little deflection you can mean something completely different. So it's just nerve-wracking sometimes. But I try to just let go, speak, and just let it flow. And usually that helps. But yeah, mainly with my friends and my dad that I'll speak with, and also with some of my extended family.
So I want to just like kind of go into the past and bring it to the future. One of the things that helped with my love of being Yoruba is when Oduduwa was first established, I was a part of like the first group of kids, and one of the programs they had was learning Yoruba, and oftentimes whenever I see that same group of people, that wanting to learn how to speak Yoruba comes back. So whenever I see like Easy or Tayo or Dio or Bio, for instance, I feel comfortable trying to attempt to speak Yoruba. Another person obviously is my mom. Even today when I was on the phone with her, my mom only speaks really honestly to me in Yoruba. I don't know if people noticed it, but I noticed it when I came back from college and I had a friend come over and spend the day with us. My mom just spoke Yoruba to her. And it didn't click until I was like, wait, Mom, what she's speaking? She doesn't understand anything you're saying. My mom said you'll understand. And I was like, you're right, because that's how I learned. Because she only speaks Yoruba to me. So even today, when we got off the phone, I said, Ari later. And I was like, is it ah? Was it ma? Was it ah? She said, Ari later. So even speaking it with your parents as much as you can, because your parents are going to be the ones to have a little bit more leeway, because you're wanting to learn. Also, I noticed that when I'm in predominantly Yoruba spaces, Yoruba comes back easier for me, because that's all I'm hearing. So it's like my brain is now reformatted. Can you guys hear me?
Just speak louder. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's my brain reformats, because it's like, okay, I'm going from English to English, then English to Yoruba, and then Yoruba to English, so.
They're messing with you. You can just.
So the mic is not working right now, so everybody's just gonna have to speak a little. Okay, you want to go back on?
Yeah. So, again, amongst friends, colleagues, obviously a lot of friends from back in Nigeria. Because, just at this level, my Yoruba is not, elementary. It gets to a point where you want to, entertain, talking, proverbs, what you will call economy and the like. So it gets to a point where, begin to talk, even at that level. Because it enhances even some knowledge of the actual Yoruba culture itself. Because there are a lot of things, for instance, the programs, some things are called Itan way. In other words, you have the programs or something like a historical event has led to that. So when you hear something like that, it needs to reflect on what has happened. For instance, it's a program. And it tells you exactly what has happened, so you can reflect on that. If possible, go back in time and look at the story.
Yeah, okay, you gotta say that one again in Yoruba and it's also translated.
Basically means that the palm trees in Italy are the ones that can really explain the war fought during the time of Ebola. Because again, like I said, it's a story. So we're not going to go to the story and or things like happening, Japanese, when they arrive and they go to the Ebola, it also tells the story. That like somebody is passing by in front of Ebola, a warlord in the Bible. Oh, alright, Jali, how are you doing today? Meanwhile, there was a war between Jali and Ibadan people. So it's like, that's what I say, okay, you want to greet me. But expose me. Why don't you share my name in the front of the palace or Kumola? So that tells you that story. I can actually reflect on that, to have that deeper meaning into Yoruba culture. I just want to piggyback to how one can help Yoruba kids. There's something on YouTube called Soul Kids. I understand it is by so all the most common nursery rhymes are already considered to Yoruba to help Yoruba kids to learn. So I think those who are still Yoruba can actually go there. Soul Kids can actually learn from that.
So our generation, we grew up with no vernacular. It was, I can't remember how many times we were punished with just speaking our language, and we are forcing our kids now and encourage them to speak. So for me, it's a time of compensating for what we have done wrong growing up. When I see anybody, especially the black person, the first language they speak to is Yoruba, and I heard a lot of Yoruba. So whatever I said in Yoruba, I don't mind how I repeat it in English so that you understand it. So for me, Yoruba is way of life. It's what I speak everywhere. My kids sometimes they just get put off. Okay. I'm going to the one bedroom. That one has even name. Means can look at my food. So I never get tired of speaking to that. I will not get tired of it. You can call it vernacular, I call it anything, but that's my own way of life.
Thank you so much. Before we transition, Amira had something that she wanted to mention. She said Amira, go ahead.
Like, when we were talking about,
Technology, language, social media.
Yeah, like when my parents talk to me sometimes, and then like Bala, no, it's Bala, and I said that. And they're like, no, it's Bala, Bala.
Reminds me of my dad too. My dad would just say this, he'd be like, "Do-re-mi." What is bullying? So I understand what you're going through. we just naturally continued our conversation so well, but right now we're in this phase of talking about language, heritage, and cultural preservation. So you guys kind of literally naturally transitioned us into it. But Amir, you can start us off. And where I want to take the conversation is, why wasn't the effort made, or what barriers do you think you were faced for maybe not understanding Yoruba, or on the other end, not teaching Yoruba? So to help out people in the middle, what do you think maybe your parents went through? What do you think was going on in their lives, being here, coming here, that kind of stopped or halted you from being able to understand your mother tongue as a child or as an adult or right now? I know that was a lot.
My case specifically, again, it's probably different, but my mom doesn't speak Yoruba, so I think my dad, anytime I feel like when you're speaking a language in front of people that they don't understand, they might think you're talking about them or something, and I think that's kind of what happened in my situation, and my dad didn't want to make my mom feel like that, even though he would never say anything to her, right? But it's still like, oh, I don't know what you guys are saying, and then he would have to repeat everything he just said to me if he were to teach me. But at the same time, saying that is like, I feel like he still should have tried at least. I feel like he didn't try enough. He claims that he did, but I don't believe it. I really don't believe it, because I feel like I should have known a little bit at least. Obviously, I knew that. He said that a lot. I've always understood that means that one's deep for me, but yeah, but I think in general, a lot of the times I'll hear like parents will say, oh, I need one of my kids to be able to speak English well, or want them to fit in like this, or whatever it may be. Also, sometimes the kids can just be stubborn about it, because Yoruba is a very hard language. Like she said, saying that level is better than, like it's different, because it's not the same word. But yeah, I think there's faults on both sides. There's faults on both sides. The kids can be stubborn about speaking, but at the same time, I think as parents, you just have to honestly gotta force it a little bit. You just gotta say, let's try to speak. Even me, I was thinking when I learned Yoruba fluently, my kids won't know I speak English until they're like 5 or 6. That's what I want. That's my true thought. That's what I wanted to do.
So just to encourage all of us, as someone who, one of my specialties in education is early childhood. Let us not limit what our kids can do, because our children can do a lot. I know there's that notion of, oh, I want my child to speak English and not feel, for instance, I'll just say, ESL, English as a second language, is something that I know as Nigerians, we don't want to put labels on our children. But what has been used as a way to label is actually a strength, because there's studies, multiple studies about the development of children's brains and the correlation to knowing multiple languages. So if your home language is Yoruba, there's nothing wrong with that, because it's opening the door for that child to learn multiple languages on top of Yoruba and English and Spanish and French. You're opening the doors for the child to learn even more. Another thing is that I'm in the middle of making the effort of doing summer classes, summer 2026, Yoruba classes for our youth. And wanting to, of course, yes, wanting to encourage parents here and parents all around to enroll your child in speaking Yoruba, because what it does is that it helps kids have a sense of identity. I don't think people understand what it does for kids when they are able to walk into a space and know that there's someone else that they can identify with, that they can speak with, and that they can relate to on a different level. Me learning Yoruba is because I was nosy. I'm not going to hold you. I wanted to know what my mom and my auntie were talking about. So me, I was in the back and giggling along. And lo and behold, my mom found out that, oh, so you learned? Okay. So it just happened like that for me. So.
So growing up in Nigeria, it wasn't difficult for you. learn and try to grasp the language. Like Mr. Madia said, at a time in school, like you speak your native language, you speak vernacular, you have to pay the fine or get punished. So that was not a problem going on. Over here, when my kids were little, we were basically afraid of speaking and they really understood it until they started going to school. And that is kind of the challenge I believe most parents have when your kids go to school, especially if you live in an environment where many of their schoolmates and colleagues speak other languages. So it's be challenging for them to really grasp that. And I think what we need, what I've seen, I even hear that from the panelists, from Kenny and the other young man, Ishan, right? So Ishan, to then see that it was because we had interest in it, that was why we actually go out of their way and also to learn the language. So the question now is, the challenge is, how do we make the language very attractive, very appealing to the younger folks, so that we can actually learn it. Because if you look at it here in America, the curriculum, we learn, of course, we're taught in English, then you're now made to learn another language. So a lot of kids go for Spanish or Chinese. I think Latin is being phased out. So if we can have like an academy, an academy that can be taught during summer that Kelly mentioned, perhaps that will help. But one of the things that we need to do as parents is to see how we actually make this language very interesting to our kids. And when you have interest, then it's much easier for them to learn.
Yeah, thank you. You see, I was listening to Meshach. At the end of the day, our kids are going to blame us for teaching them the culture or our way of life. So we can still do something with that right now because it is too late. But you see, when we were growing up, the idea of teaching kids, your children how to speak your language at home is not something we do. And for that mindset, I speak for myself, that mindset is what I taught here. You want to provide for the family, you want to build your own career. Kids want to go to school, you want to take them to school, you want to do this, you want to do that. Not realizing at that time.
Can you speak up a bit?
Yeah, not realizing at that time that teaching these kids the language is actually more important than all these other things we're teaching them. Now, one of my kids just finished her master's. I don't need to tell her what to do next or what she has to do. But the language, I don't even know where to start from. So, for younger generation, yes, they are building your career, your job and all these things. Something that is very, very important. It doesn't take more than 5% of your time in a day or even in a week. Remember to incorporate this culture, this language to these young ones. Don't miss the opportunity. Time goes very, very, very fast. And that is why I began not having this community when we came here for something years ago. Because now we are reminding ourselves something that is very, very important to know. If I may add, the other tribes in Minnesota are not waiting. This past summer, I happened to be, I had the opportunity to the Igbo community. Every Saturday I have a lecture class with a friend, and the four of us to take his little kid to Igbo class every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning. So I inquire, who's paying for it? Nobody's paying for it. It's community. People like people who are educationists among us can put this thing together and say, okay, every Saturday morning, every kid must be there, class by class. If you don't speak Yoruba at all, you are class one. Doesn't matter how old you are. So I think that's something we need to look into.
Thank you so much. Okay, so everybody, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I don't want to just end it like this. I want to give us 1 second to let every panelist bring us in for a good community question that I think we can also talk about at the next time we meet. And thinking of community, right, like when we look at the things that we've been able to discuss today, what is the biggest misunderstanding you think your generation and the younger generation have? Or the opposite, the younger generation and the older generation have? The biggest misunderstanding. Now, we're short on time, so everybody's only gonna have 1 minute. When you're about halfway through, I'll go like this for you to wrap it up. Just think real quick, the biggest misunderstanding. Also, everybody in the crowd, I'll go to hopefully about 2 or 3 of you to be able to contribute as well. Think about it. What's the biggest misunderstanding that we're facing right now between the younger and older generation? And we'll be able to pinpoint that so we can continue our conversation at the next. All right? When you're ready, go ahead.
I would just say priority. The difference in our priority. We have parents, we want to leave behind a very good legacy for our children. The younger folks, they are all about their career. When I saw to you this afternoon, I came here, I didn't go to the inside again, please my daughter here. So she's busy chasing our career while we are looking at legacy. So we need to think about that.
Again, few, I'll just mention these. I think some of the younger generation, especially those who are born here, parents who came from Nigeria, feel that their parents don't know anything. Daddy, we don't know what we're doing in another generation. And the vast are the same. What a child who has climbed a tree will not see. A father who is seated in his bedroom will know exactly that thing. The child has climbed a tree to gaze at that thing, and the parents are seated in the bedroom, they can tell you exactly what the child is failing to see. So yes, there are quite a few things that the generation that came from Nigeria might not know, be it Generation X. However, life there are context and concepts of life. So those things are not going to change anywhere you go to. So being able to be available to the parents to know that they know something, even if they're not that educated, I think can help a little bit.
I think something that is a misunderstanding between both generations is what respect and what respect means and what respect entails. Because respect is a very big part of being human, right? And I feel like the older generation feels like we don't respect them when in fact, if it was not for you, we would not be here. So there's this thing where it's like, it's implied. We're here, we respect you. Hence the reason why a lot of us are trying to reach out and have these conversations. But then there's like a system that I think a lot of us don't understand. And then there's also, I feel, because of colonialism, and like this whole transition between what our identity is, there have been things that have been lost culturally as Yoruba people that we have to like go back and look at. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. Also gonna be kind of my thing too, just like the respect thing. Again, we respect our elders very much. In Yoruba, respect is just a different level. So I think us growing up here, it's just different. Because we spend 8 to 10 hours at school every day. You know, we experience a completely different culture from what our parents that grew up in Nigeria experience. So I think, and I understand it's hard. Like I know, because it's like you guys, this is what you guys are built on. It's like try to level with us, but understand like we're Nigerian, yes, but we also growing up here. It might take us more time to understand where you guys are coming from too. So yeah, just bounce one word. I agree.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. So the question is, what is the biggest misunderstanding that you think you have with the old heads, the people who are older than you?
Even a little.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be just, oh, mom and dad and grandpa. It could be the people right to your left.
Like, sometimes, like, my friends, like, they're, like, a month older than me or, like, a year older than me, and they're, like, then they're acting like they're, like, my parents. They're, like, I'm older than you, so you respect your elders, and I'm just like...
Okay, I'm gonna bring the mic into the crowd so we can hear from the view. 1 minute, 30-ish seconds.
You want to $10. 1 minute.
2-ish minutes.
Is it the answer to the question or is it open?
This, I think we can open up to anything. If you want to speak on that last question, what are the biggest misunderstandings? Or even just your remarks on your experience tonight and what you went through. Keep in mind that some of the panelists do have to leave on time. If you do need to leave, feel free to just go around. But I think this is a great opportunity for us as a whole community to talk. Quick round of applause for our panelists. Also, before the crowd speaks, Tolu would like to speak on some things real quick.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, I can wait.
Sorry, you said some panelists are leaving.
No, I still stay. It says to stay for 2 months.
Oh, they're all staying?
For you to
Get a group picture
Oh,
of everyone is staying behind them or something, and bring a round of applause for them again. Thank you for your time. And for people that are together too. I'll take my time and
Okay, and then Tolu has some things to say.
Hello, everybody. My name is Faye. Yoruba my parents, Joseph, and our goal is to create Yoruba classes this summer. So please keep a lookout for more information on that. We're working with the individuals from the University of Florida, working from people from North Carolina, people who are professors, people who are doing this and know what they're talking about. I would love to have some more people. I'm looking at that. I would have some more people in the. We have what's it called? A small group of small meeting committee. We have a curriculum committee that's going to start meeting in January. If you're interested, I would love to have some more people who I want to make it fun, engaging for the community. So we're looking for younger people specifically. Thank you.
Quick question on that.
Yeah.
Are the classes, if you know, are they going to be strictly in person or will they be virtual?
There will be a virtual option,
Yes,
and we're working on it.
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
There's a website that I have.
Great.
Canada is already joining,
Great.
and this is through Oduduwa Progressive,
Awesome.
and they are really doing different ages.
Yeah.
And so I'll send you the link.
That'd be great.
Reminding to go.
The goal is to have it in person because we are going to just play better at holding each other accountable. And
then building community.
building community. The online option, we'll discuss that because that should be fun. Thank you all.
All right, can we?
Somebody has a microphone.
All right, so in the crowd, go ahead and please introduce yourself before you speak.
All right, my name is Femi Adetunji. I think this is a great program where we can have a conversation.
Put the mic to you.
A good point to start for, especially somebody who is just beginning to learn Yoruba. I just want to put that. The second thing is just a derivation of something that Kelly said, especially with the baby boomer, Gen X. I think for the Gen Z and other people, we just have to take what we get right now. Hopefully they can improve on this and get more from their own kids and grandkids. I have somebody that comes to my house often, and whenever she comes, I do like, good evening. Then she will be like this, like you have to frustrate. And it got to a time when she comes, When she comes, then my kid will just sneak out because they just don't want to go through that. Yeah, so like she said, that they respect her. I don't think they have to do that. It would be nice, but I don't think they have to. So let's take what we get from this kid. Hopefully, they can do better with their own kid, then they can give them the whole, the value of frustration. Otherwise, we're going to lose them. My kids will literally go through the side, go through the basement whenever this individual comes to my house. So I don't think you have to go to that extreme. I can't believe I'm saying it, but that's the reality. If we don't want to lose them, let's take what we get, and hopefully they can do a better job, start sooner than we did, and get the better Yoruba from their own kids and grandkids. Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Dio. This was really great. Thank you all for many panelists for your insight. The one thing I wanted to say that was related to the last question was in regards to some of the misunderstandings. I think it's important for us to say that there's a lot of things that, and speak for myself, that I love about our culture, but there's also some things that I do not like as much. And so because there are some things that I do not like as much, and I go back and forth with my parents all the time.
Would you like to be specific?
Things. No, I won't get into this.
Just give one example. One.
I think examples help to set the tone for what you're saying.
Sure.
And we need to be able to have those conversations. We need to.
Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah, I think respect was one of those, right? And I think I have the utmost respect for my parents. The utmost respect. There's just certain times where I disagree with certain things, but that doesn't mean that I don't respect them. It's just my perspective is different.
For example.
I mean, that's just in general. I don't have. So just because I disagree with them, right? I've been trained to be a free thinker, and I think thinking solves problems. And so I think when I've been questioned, I saw one thing that was asking why on the board. I don't know who put that there as far as raising children, asking why. But you have to know why. You have to have an understanding, because if you don't know why, then you can't find solutions. You can't, be a thinker. You can't kind of advance. So I think whenever I have questions, it's always viewed potentially as an insult. It's always viewed as a level of disrespect. And there's no disrespect there. It's just kind of trying to understand. So I think so to close that by saying, just because there are certain things that I disagree with our culture, doesn't mean that I'm not proud to be Yoruba, or that I'm not very appreciative of the culture and the foundation.
I have an example.
Good. She has an example.
Yeah, take an example and then we'll give it to easy.
Sometimes I feel like the older generation is not nice to us. Like, generally, I feel like sometimes you're not nice. Like, you want us to be respectful and kind to you, but there are times where you don't respect us, you're not nice to us. And it's hard for us to then be respectful back because we already feel some kind of way of disrespecting ourselves, and we're adults now. We're the new adults. And so, anyway, that's all that's my example.
Let's practice this real quick. Let's practice.
I ain't got an example.
He has an example.
Let's practice.
Before we even speak, we're going to practice this. Alright, so Easy did, he was next, so I think in trying to do things like this and in trying to moderate, we have to learn that sometimes that non-closure, you're not gonna always get to say what you wanna say, it's not always gonna be your turn next. So, out of respect, Easy was next in line to talk, we're gonna let him talk, and then if we have the time, we're gonna take it over there, and after Aki over there speaks, then somebody else, if they wanna speak, will be able to talk. Easy, remember, it's supposed to be about 2 minutes.
Point of observation.
Yeah, so my
sustained.
thoughts, first of all, thank you panelists. This is very near and dear to my heart because I'm seeing this from the perspective of being in this generation, being a younger generation, and also thinking about fatherhood in the future. overall, when I was thinking about what I was gonna say. Louder? Okay. When I was thinking about what I was gonna say, I first wanna say pride comes from how, as parents, we deliver that to our children. And so as you're speaking, as you're talking, as you are encouraging your children to be more Yoruba, there's ways that you can do that, being respectful to them so they can be respectful back to you. I think everybody was trying to say, there's many times when you are teaching your children where if you're asking for respect but you're being disrespectful to them, they're gonna hold that within inside themselves. And the way that they then speak to you or speak to other people, that disrespect, although you were saying as you're about pride, it's going to manifest in them, and that's how they're going to be brought up in the world. And so just think of that as you're speaking to them. That level of disrespect that you may be not realizing, you're going to carry that within them into the world, and that's how people are going to see you or about people as maybe confident, but also very disrespectful. We don't want that either. I think secondarily to that, there's a level of empathy that Nigerians don't have. I'm just gonna say, maybe even just Africans. We don't lead with empathy.
West Africans.
West Africans. Let me say that.
West.
The level of confidence, pridefulness, it shows in everyone and what we say, how we do things, but we forget about how people feel. And if you don't show love with the way that you're delivering things, again, it's going to manifest in that person differently. I can speak for this myself. There's many things that's happened in my life that I wish either my parents, aunties, uncles would just say, hey, it's okay, I love you. I didn't hear I love you until I was out of college. I talked with kids at our church. I brought them home. I'm asking them, how's life, how's things? They will tell me, I'm doing all the things that I can in school so that my parents will be proud, because I haven't heard that they say I'm proud of you. It's little things like that that they will hear from outside families that they say to their kids, but we don't say that to them until they get to a certain level. And so that's what I'm really trying to encourage, is just the way that you speak to your children. Lead with empathy, lead with love. As the Lord will tell you, love is everything. That's all he wants. So, that's all I have to say.
Oh, great. I want to add to it, but again, we're going to practice. In practicing, what is hard for many of us to do is holding our thoughts. And you please remember to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being there. We learned a lot from you guys. But I really want to make something clear. There's something they call communication. It's very important everywhere. Don't say your mom is too old for you to advise her. Find a time you will call her, your mom or your dad and say, you remember something that happened this time? I think the way you talk to me, I don't like it. Will you please talk to me this way? I will appreciate it more. So, when we grow up in Nigeria, our culture is different from American culture. And don't take don't take what your parents say against them or hold it. Because sometimes they don't mean that, And the way the parents interpret things is different from the way you guys interpret it, because you grew up in another society. But the best thing is you really need to communicate. Even if your parent does not say they love you, say, Mom, you forgot something. Say you love me. Honestly, your parents want to say it. Just because cultural difference is there, and what they are thinking in their head is different, what they are going through at that time is different. So you might think the way they talk to you, they are not kind of nice, or they are super nice. But because of their culture and where they've grown up with, they don't take those things seriously the way you guys take it seriously. So in that sense, you need to help your parents out. Because if they are not too old to teach, they are not too old, you can teach your parents things. Something that they don't realize they don't know, you can teach it. And they really appreciate it. And the communication will be perfect and super. Trust me.
Okay, I'll come over there and then I'll go to you, Auntie. I wanted to just add a little bit to it and say that within what Easy said, within what Auntie over here said, I think something that always stands out for me is a lot of, in my experience too, because I think that's how it's just in my experience, a lot of Nigerian adults don't think that they're rude. And just because they're older than me, or just because they're a parent, an auntie, and uncle, they think that the action that they did wasn't still disrespectful. I'm not saying that I, myself, am not sometimes disrespectful. But you, just because you're of a certain age, doesn't mean that you still are not disrespectful. And I think that's a huge thing that I've experienced and still experience now and witness with a lot of Nigerians from young to old. They think that because they're older than you, or they do something or say something, despite how it's said, it's right. And it's not, it's actually disrespectful.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. We'll leave it to Anthony. Okay, we'll go here first. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have this young gentleman here is going to introduce himself, and then Auntie, and then that'll be it for tonight.
This afternoon, rather. My name is Olore Badamosi. Alashe. First, I think this is a great platform for all of us. I think just to piggyback on what's been going on is that I think there's just been a lack of understanding from both sides, I would say. I would think that for the younger generation, we just think that, well, at least below my generation, we just think that, you know, our parents don't understand the hardships of what's going on in today's world. Nobody gets to really be a kid, you know. A lot of us are activists who try to do something. But we don't also have a clear lens on what our parents went through coming over from Nigeria to America and trying to make it. And I've been to Nigeria. I know some of us have been to Nigeria, but I've been to like the mainland. I've been to Mile 12. I've been to Computer Village. I've been to Ikorodu. And Nigeria is really a mad place. Like, the people there, the way that our parents, you think that's disrespectful? If you go to Nigeria and you see the way that they talk to people there, it's totally different. So I think we just don't have a very clear lens of like what our parents went through growing up and then coming here and having that culture shock of how to not only raise our children, but also keep that culture identity too. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been a victim of identity crisis of, you know, maybe I don't belong in America, but then also I go back to Nigeria, and then the Nigerians there are looking at me like, you don't belong here either. Like, what are you doing? So, you know, I think, you know, this is like very good for us as a community just to try to get to understand each other and understand what each of us are doing. So I think that's just what I'm
Yeah, my name is Toya. Mama C. Yeah. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Somebody said, you can tell, you can speak from your mind. But what I'm trying to say is, there is a cultural difference. The culture is different from how we are raised. I can never, no matter what my mom, when I was raised, whether she's right or wrong, I will not say you're wrong. I can't do that because I know she's my mom. I will never. So that we're trying to be on the same page with you, and so you have to understand that. And I'm glad well, somebody said about love. That love is very deep. We love you. It's a tough love. We're trying to raise you in a way that we were raised, and at the same time, not get in trouble with the culture in America. So please bear with us. Communicate. Just communicate with us. We just started. This is going to help us a lot. But bear with us that we love you, and you know, we'll do whatever it takes.
Thank you.
Before Dr. Razak speaks, of applause for all of us. I think this is pretty amazing.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for the success of this very first iteration of our town hall intergenerational discourse. This is First, I want to give a lot of credit to Egbe Omo Oduduwa Minnesota and Night Generation. Night Generation. The Night Generation are our young adults of Nigerian descent in Minnesota. In their midst, they have not just Yoruba, but they have people of other tribal groups from Nigeria. Night Generation. All right, so this is great. You know, we kind of perceived this, you know, when we started having conversation with the young adults, and you know, they brought up the fact that the starting point for us is creating a platform where we can have conversation, where everyone can feel safe, irrespective of their age, you know, all the generations, that we can come out and discuss. I have a concern about how this may play out. So we still wanted to try it, and then we thought we would learn from it, because the biggest challenge we have is where we are, where we find ourselves. Our children do not understand us. We also do not understand them. Yeah, it's a culture clash. And some of the things that they're describing, just one concept. One of the Yoruba have the richest culture. I mean, I may have my bias, but I've lived among several groups. I've lived in, at least, this is the 4th country that I've lived in. And different tribal groups, Nigeria, over 250 tribal groups. I know for a fact, and we can place all the evidence there, that the Yoruba has the richest culture. However, our children even do not know that, because many of them were born here or grew up here. So, just one of the Yoruba values, respect, is we just grazed on it. We didn't get close to it. How we define it. I like what Olade said. I'm glad for those of you who have had the opportunity to travel to Nigeria, to live there a little bit, to be here, then you begin to appreciate, to understand what your parents actually went through. So Olade came from a position of empathy. As a matter of fact, he was having empathy for the older generation, this Gen X and silent generation and baby boomers, because they are living through some trauma. For those of us in healthcare, we understand what trauma-informed care, how important it is. Because you have to understand where people are coming from. But a lot of people do not understand that, and that's the challenge that we have. And that's also part of how, you know, like, what people consider disrespect. That's how some of these people were raised. The parents are talking about. You could be right, but you are still wrong, because your grandpa says so. You understand? And we live with it, but you cannot. I mean, it's traumatic for the children we're raising here, because they feel like they've been insulted. They feel like someone has really beats them down, and we have to understand that. So, and Isis just touched on it very, very clearly. So I really appreciate this conversation, and that's why we thought that having this dialogue and also storytelling is how many of us were raised. Hearing the story of our fathers, from uncles, all the dads in the neighborhood are our dads. All the moms in the neighborhood are our moms. And when we have opportunity, we see they welcome us, they bring us close. And they share with us how the challenges that they've had growing up, traveling, living in different places, doing businesses everywhere. All of this has oftentimes to raise us. Such that, and that's why in many cases, the subject of mental health that they're talking about. I mean, I know we also have those problems in our community, as in other communities, but it's not as much because of the way we were raised, right? So I wouldn't want to take too much of your time, but this is the first one. We're going to do more.
Exactly.
And we're going to do, and we have different themes that we already put together, but we also did send out some survey to you where we're welcoming your suggestion about the themes that the next one and the next one could be. We actually want to do some storytelling. All right, so Tayo has something to say.
Oh, just when we send out the link, please fill out the links.
Do what?
Fill out the links.
Please fill out the links. We're going to, the links is in the
forms.
Yeah, it's in the Google form. We're going to share that also in all the other forums that we have. So we need to fill it out.
Ask the younger generation.
And if you need help, please ask the younger generation. All right.
I will love you.
Okay.
No, seriously, if you can. And again, on this event, I think you guys need to tell your parents about it. Don't just come here by yourself. Invite your parents. Because we're talking about them. And we're talking about communication. Sometimes they need to hear this. They need to hear how you feel. So please, let them know it's about it. Share it. I'm talking. I'm still talking. You need to still on. Okay. Seriously, I want you to tell their parents.
Sorry, man, don't let her finish. Uncle, let her finish. Let Auntie finish. Let Auntie finish. Sorry, I'm not being bad.
This is very important.
Yes,
tell your parents, invite them to this event. And then for the gala night, I'm really serious. If you can buy them tickets. Do it. If you can, it's okay. But sometimes people don't know what to give parents. Just to say thank you. And if you can do it, there's nothing wrong with it. Or if not, they're not buying the ticket, invite them. Tell them about it. You're in this, I want you to be part of it. Toyin, I'm so glad that Toyin really is in this. And she's going to learn a lot of Yoruba doing this.
Try to get some stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I share everybody. Thank you so much. Go. Ilẹ̀ ti wí. Ẹ sọ dáadáa. Ẹ jẹ́ ẹ sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Ẹ̀yin àgbà ẹ má bínú ẹ sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Okay, we good. Thank you.